Hey fellow tamers and Digidestined, it's Mike, AKA Synaku from Overground, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering a new yellow deck for BT5, one that we haven't covered quite yet, but one that is still close to my heart, and that is ShineGreymon. Now, you've probably heard the Star-Lord deck running around, and that is the LordKnight deck that uses the Starmon engine using Meteor Shower that you can see right here. Well, we've taken that idea and kind of flipped it on its head and injected it into a ShineGreymon strategy to build what I've affectionately called, but not necessarily creatively called, Starshine. Hey, get it? Anyway. So yeah, basically all this deck aims to do is try to turbo out ShineGreymon while kind of skipping the middleman. And there was two versions that you could have built in order to kind of get to this conclusion. There's the build you can make with LordKnightmon, in which you can attack with LordKnightmon to drop a Knightmon and then put a ShineGreymon over top of that Knightmon. And then that would help both build your board wider while simultaneously kind of nuking your opponent's side. But that required a ton of setup. And ShineGreymon is already a deck that's so slow as it is. And you need those turns to kind of build up those tamers, and you need turns to kind of get yourself antiquated and ready to pop off against your opponent. And what this version of the deck aims to do instead is that we can turbo ultimates out into play using Meteor Shower. And what Meteor Shower does, if you're unfamiliar, is for 3 cost, you can play any yellow Digimon with Starmon in its name from your hand without paying its memory cost. And so that opens up a whole kind of breadth of possibility, because now you can play Starmon himself, which would normally cost 3, which is kind of a waste. You can play Shooting Starmon, which is a champion, which would normally be a 5 cost, you can cheat it out for 3. Or you can play Super Starmon, which is a 6 cost that you would normally evolve for 2, but you can also cheat it out for 3 instead. And what this does as well is that you can actually, without having to need all of the pieces to go all the way up into a Mega, if you just have something like Meteor Shower, Super Starmon, and ShineGreymon in your hand, you can immediately just drop ShineGreymon and then just go off. And depending on how many tamers you have in play at that point in time, you can, take out your opponent's board, or at least put them in a much worse position. And that's kind of what the theory of this deck was. Just play as many consistency cards as possible, ways to turbo out your tamers, and then the rest of the Starmon engine just kind of allows you to fold into those ShineGreymons relatively quickly. And getting into an ultimate really quickly also helps you with your /Angemon plays, because similar to the whole Knightmon plus /Angemon combo that you would see in something like LordKnightmon, the ability to just get a /Angemon for 2 cards as opposed to going up an entire chain is a little bit better, because in a deck like ShineGreymon, all your inheritables are super, super important. And going up a big stack with a lot of very strong inheritables and ending on a /Angemon always feels like a waste. And I've said this in a lot of videos where I say that /Angemon kind of feels like the dark horse of yellow, because for as powerful as it is never very valuable on a good stack of inheritables, or on a good stack that you spend a lot of turns and resources kind of preparing and molding to your liking. And in this instance, you can instead use the Meteor Shower to put down Super Starmon, turn them into a /Angemon immediately, and save whatever big stack you have in your raising area to go up into the ShineGreymon. So with that in mind, and kind of the general theory of the deck out there, let's go ahead and talk about the card by card. So in this deck, we're playing 4 Upamon and then the 1 Koromon. Upamon's a little bit better in ShineGreymon because it is a deck that, again, is very, very slow, so sometimes you will fall behind in the early game in terms of security, and you need that extra consistency package with Upa to kind of get back into the game, keep drawing more cards as often as possible, and get more cards in your hand to keep playing the game and to kind of, hit your win conditions as quickly and consistently as possible. And so to complement that, I'm just going to talk about Pulsemon real quick instead, because he's the biggest consistency package for yellow as it stands. On play, we get to draw a card depending on where our memory is. And generally, if we're playing as many copies of Pulsemon as possible, so we can see him as early on as possible in order to draw more cards. And then to complement our rookie package, we're playing 4 copies of the starter deck Patamon. This is the Patamon where if we reduce DP to 0, we get to gain 1 memory. 3 copies of the original Starmon. This can come into play on its own or through the Meteor Shower effect. A Meteor Shower does trigger insecurity, so this is a cool way to kind of interrupt your opponent's plays as well, because we can drop the Starmons on our opponent's turn, which is actually really, really, really neat. And then 2 copies of Cutemon to, play around stuff like green, purple, Imperial Dramon, etc., etc. Very lean rookie lineup. We're only playing 13 rookies, and that's because of the Meteor Shower itself, because any copy of Meteor Shower, if you have the corresponding Starmon in hand, equates to what could have been a rookie that you would have hard played, and it lets you kind of skip a level immediately and put that extra level into play already. But moving on to our champions, we're playing 4 copies of Pitomon and 3 copies of Shuraimon. These are here mostly as your turbo accelerators to kind of get into your higher levels very quickly as your cheap evos. 2 copies of Unimon. This is here to have a 6,000 body that will be better against stuff like LordKnightmon and also better against the green matchup. And then 2 copies of Shooting Starmon as an extra target for Meteor Shower proper. And Super Starmon has a neat effect where on deletion we give a opponent's Digimon minus 3,000 for the turn. So Super Starmon's a cool little gimmick that you can kind of crash into your opponent's security and then potentially take a rookie or something down with them as well. It could also be one of those things like the regular Starmon, where it could just take off something off the edge that you might be missing DP-wise in order to take out an opponent's threat. Moving on to our ultimates, we're playing 3 copies of the Red Rise. This is the Digiburst 2 to play a red or yellow tamer from our hand for free. 3 copies of Super Starmon. This is just, again, to accelerate with our Meteor Shower to get into our Megas a little bit faster. And then 2 copies of the Yellow Rise to, on Digivolve, play a yellow tamer from our hand for free. And that also has the inheritable of, if you have 3 tamers in play, you get Security Attack +1. The Red Rise also has the inheritable, if you have a tamer in play on attack, you get to minus something by 2,000. And then onto the Megas, we're playing 4 copies of ShineGreymon himself, and 2 copies of Slash Angemon. And I talk about Slash a lot, and how much I'm kind of hot and cold with him, and there is another option for this deck that I have yet to test, and that option is Kentorosmon. Kentorosmon is very powerful because since this is such a slow deck, we can use it to kind of stun our opponents, and especially in the LordKnight matchup where they go really wide really quickly, Kentorosmon can help us debuff our opponent's board to make sure that they can't just kill us on the next turn. And then Kentorosmon, similar to Slash Angemon, can do a similar effect, but it just has to die in order to reduce something by 11,000 versus the 8,000. So Slash Angemon's very reactive, whereas Kentorosmon's a little bit more proactive. And I've yet to test the Kentorosmon instead. I might just go to a 1-1 split just to see how I like it, but I feel like these are the best partners for ShineGreymon, especially in this version of the deck specifically. You just want more Megas in your top end to slow down your opponent, stunt them from going wide and rushing you out, or you want more Megas that can put your opponent in a position where while you don't deal with their resources explicitly, the resources just cannot kill you. So there's an argument to be made for both sides. I think Slash is better right now just because 8K is such a magic number this format, and especially when you combo that with ShineGreymon further, because Slash Angemon can just pretty much take off or pick off whatever Shine couldn't, which also leads into why we're playing the 2 Valdararm as well, because both of them work very well in combination of softening something up for Valdararm to take on after the fact. And then to round out the deck, we're also playing 3 copies of Meteor Shower, which we've discussed pretty much at length at this point. There's not really much to go into detail about. And then we're playing 7 Tamers. Now, 7 Tamers does seem really small for a ShineGreymon deck, but I just didn't have the space. I still feel like 7 is enough. You still see them as often enough as you need. So yeah, that's just a quick profile that I just want to show you guys. It's another one of my BT5 pet projects that I've been experimenting with, and I wanted to share it with all of you. If you like what you see here, please like the video and leave a comment if there's anything that you would change, or if there's any other suggestions that you have for the deck. I have been Mike, aka Synaku, once again. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And if you like what we do at the Overground, please consider giving us a subscribe and help us reach our next goal of 500 subs. Alrighty, thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in the next one.